Okay. Okay, you guys, welcome to the Free Ladies Show. I am your host, Brittney McWethy. We have a really special guest. She is my friend, Aleta. We actually met in Colorado Springs. I started doing her hair, and then I sadly moved away from her right when we
Very
were
sad.
like, really sad.
It's very sad. I'm still sad.
I know, me too. I mean, I
I'm
talk
happy for you, but I'm sad for me.
totally, totally. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I'm still trying to process of like, I miss Colorado so much and I miss my clients so much. I mean, it's hard, man. Like, but at the same time, like life is about taking leaps of faith and the journey and you're only 8.5 hours away. It's
No, it's true. And we already proved that once. So,
Yeah, we
you know,
did. We
yeah,
did. We did. We did. So you guys, Aleta is just, I've been wanting to have her on my podcast for a long time because she is like a light bulb, a lighthouse of positive energy and positive words of affirmation. Like she's just seen it all. So Aleta, introduce who you are and tell us what you do.
Okay, so I am Aleta Lee. Um, I am a co-owner for an event and stage lighting company called Epic Lighting LLC. It's on Maui. And prior to that, I was an event coordinator for 20 something years. And in all of that, yeah, I've kind of seen it, done it, raised several kids, took several in. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's really difficult, I think, for them to get anything by me. But the good news is, yeah, the good news is I raised them to be free thinking adults who recognize that everyone is entitled to happiness and joy, even if it means changing up their life, which, like
Right.
with you, it's
Right.
important. You gotta pursue the joy.
Right. Right. You really do. And I feel like that gets lost a
Yeah.
lot of the time, especially with social media, with the news and everything that you see when it's really just trying to control your mind to think something different, to be someone you're not,
Yeah.
and to just only see the hatred. So this is, like this is why I want to have Aleta on here, you guys. Like I want to talk about like, just being better people. Like how do we be better people? Like what in your eyes do you feel like the humanity needs to be better? Like
I
what would
think,
that world look like for you?
well, for me, the journey of being a better human is to recognize that I don't know anything about another person's life. They can be someone that you just met or someone you've known forever. You only know what they're telling you and what's in front of you. But
Mm,
when you think about it, when you stop for a moment and you think of all the things you don't express out because you don't want to burden someone with your problems, or you don't want to rain on their parade, or maybe you just don't feel secure enough to be able to share those details. um, you, oh, I got lost, but let me just back it up to say that because we are not 100% sure of what another person is going through in that moment, it's imperative that we approach all situations with grace and
mm,
compassion,
right.
because that allows us to experience compassion for ourselves,
Mm,
for what we're going through, but it allows us to give grace. So when someone's having a bad day and they didn't tell us, instead of assuming they're being douchebags, assume the other part, which is that what they really need is they need to be more appreciated and accepted for who they are and what they're going through. And yeah, I mean, that I, in a perfect world, I would ask that everyone have more grace in
mm.
how they deal with each other and recognize that you don't know what they're going through.
You
So
don't. You don't.
yeah.
And we're so quick to judge in this society. Like, but I want to
No
tell you something.
anxiety.
Yeah, society. A little thing about Aleta. She's one of those people that cooks for her neighbors, brings cookies, brings food, has compassion for everyone around her. And Could you imagine if everyone was like that? People used to be like that, you
Well,
know?
I think that part of that comes from having been homeless myself, when I was young, got pregnant, got kicked out, uh, went to live on the streets, and had someone, basically my doctor, my OBGYN at the time, he and his wife owned the clinic, and they told me, okay, well, your insurance got canceled too. So I explained everything to them, and they said, well, you know what, if you show up here every day, we'll teach you how to work in an office and how to do those things. So rather than shut me out because circumstances in my life were crap, they gave me a hand up. And
Yeah.
I think that's the key right there, is if we open our arms wide in every situation, and we just say, by opening up, I can receive more goodness than I would if I tried to close my arms and be afraid. Um, I think that's when you get that glory coming in, and you're able to express it out just like a mirror so quickly. Just give it back, and it just keeps coming. And so for me here in Colorado Springs, the hardest part, just like you moving to where you did, the hardest part is finding your family. When we left Maui, we have so many people in our industry and in our families and in our neighborhoods that we were very close with. You could just always rely on each other to be there. And moving here, it was sort of like I'm all by myself. What am I going to do? And I looked around and I saw a lot of people who were afraid. They were afraid to communicate with other people. COVID really screwed them. They were afraid to trust another human being, and they were just afraid. I mean, really, the fear had closed them down. Fear of, oh, this guy might have different views politically than I do. And so it became a mission to kill them with kindness,
Mm-hmm.
and to show them that by opening your arms and opening your heart, that there's so much more to life, that you can enjoy daily. And so, yeah, now I got this whole community of people
You.
right here within a 1 mile radius, all the way around me, like a big old circle of love. And it's great. I mean, it's awesome. I don't think I could have asked for anything better, honestly.
Yeah. And you have an amazing husband that is by your side that also, I feel like I see you guys together, you know what I mean? And the love and compassion you guys have for each other is also like a lighthouse. And, when you get to share that with your partner and you get to share that experience with the culture around you, it's such a beautiful thing because
Thank you.
I mean, I've never lived in Hawaii or lived in Maui, but I feel like that's always a common goal in the
Yeah.
islands, what
Yeah.
I mean? And so, but it should be like that everywhere, it should be like that in everywhere you go and every place that you are, I was just I finally introduced myself to these two girls at the gym, today because they're like badasses. And, I can be introvert and extrovert. And I'm just like, and I happened to walk in the locker room to use the restroom and they were both in there. And I had this amazing conversation. They were so cool.
Yeah.
And it's just, it is really hard when you move into a different community where you're like, shit, I feel alone. I don't know anybody. And even though
Right.
I've known a lot of people here, um, I don't have just that person that I can just go and hang out with, since Daniel and I are still like kind of long distance and,
Right.
working that out as best as that we can. And so it's just been a mission for me since September to pull my head out of my ass and be like, look, I got to say yes to everything. I just got to
Yeah.
say yes to the experience of, opening that energy up around me. And, since I've done that, people have come up to me at the gym or just in general of, you find it when
Right.
you're spreading it, if you find it, And you know that there is so much good in this world, but it seems to be knocked down. It seems to be hidden, especially in this weird, like, shaming of masculinity and all this crap, and like ignoring it, lying about it. You know what I mean? It's just, it's crazy that, a lot of people, or, the government or whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it, wants you not to be human, you
Well,
know,
it's they
for
want to,
time.
it's easier to control a crowd of people with emotion. And
Right.
so if you have a choice, you can ignite the emotion of love and compassion, right? Or you can ignite the emotion of fear, which
Right.
then generates anger. And the reason why fear and anger works best for people who are trying to control you is because it's a knee-jerk reaction. It's reactionary.
Mhm.
Whereas when you approach someone with love, you're not looking to control them. You're looking to share everything, experiences or food, in my case, because that's one of my love languages. It's my biggest one is food. Um,
So good when it hits the lips.
yeah, but the truth is that if you want to control the masses, give them something to be angry about, something to fear, and then give them the okay to just express all that anger and fear. And because each of us has fear in us, and we all fear different things. We fear we're not going to be financially successful. We fear that our loved ones are going to become harmed because of choices they're making. We
Yeah.
fear, we fear everything. That it takes more courage to go beyond that fear, and it takes more belief in yourself. And a lot of humans do not have that. They don't have the belief in themselves. So then they can't muster the courage
Right.
to turn their back on the fear and instead open their arms to embrace the love and expressions of compassion,
Right.
because that provides it, it exposes your vulnerability.
Yeah.
You have to, yeah. So if you don't feel strong in who you are, you don't feel that you can be vulnerable to others, because then it gives them the opportunity to ding you, like, oh, if I expose too much of my vulnerabilities, then they have something they can use against me.
Right.
But that's just because, again, it goes back to you're letting your fear govern how you operate in this world. And I know for a fact that one person can't do everything, but everyone out there can do one thing. And so, and I've told you that before. So for me, I am one person. I try to do one good thing every day. And some days, hit it out of the park. It's like not even a thought. It happens. It's awesome. Yay. Humanity's been restored. And then other days I'm like, what? you know, I
Right.
mean,
Hey.
yeah, it's like, but it doesn't stop me from waking up the next morning and going, I can do better. Because if one person can do one thing that will change other people's lives for the best, then I gotta get up and do it again. And so every morning I get back up, and the first person that I show love to is myself.
Yeah.
I wake up and I say, look, I'm going to work out today because this is a gift I give myself.
Mhm.
It's me time. It's me, and me. And when I'm done loving who I am and appreciating and nourishing who I am, then I have my morning cup of coffee and I start my day and I look around me and go, who's the next person in line to receive some love? And it's Keith. Keith is the next person in line. And my dog, when she wakes up, because she's so old now, she sleeps till 10, and then, I go out and take a walk around the neighborhood and see what else can be done before I have to sit down at my desk and work, because Hawaii is currently 4 hours behind us. So I have an abundance of time in the morning to do something good. So that's,
And that's super important. I talk about this all the time, like with, my coaching group and everything like that, like how you start your morning, how you
yeah,
start that morning routine of gratitude and love for yourself and, making sure that your cup is full. Because when you do that, you start your day right, even though the day might end shitty and you do want to
yeah,
flip everybody off. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah,
so important to just have that routine where it becomes a habit and you do
yeah,
it without even thinking.
right.
But when you have gratitude, that's when you really have to talk out loud. Like I say it, I walk around the house like with Sage. I kid you
Yep,
not. And I talk about what I'm grateful for,
yep.
because when you're growing your business all over again, which I'm doing, like the shit's hard, man.
Yeah.
And
Difficult.
be really difficult. It can feel uh like I don't have confidence and things like that, but I'm like, I still love me. I still love me and I know it's going to happen. And that's where you have to be vulnerable with yourself.
Right,
Starting your day with being vulnerable with yourself, taking care of your temple so that you allow other people around you to be vulnerable. Like that's what people love about sitting in my chair at the salon. They can be
yeah,
whoever they want, they can say whoever they want. I create that space for
right,
anybody as you create that space in your neighborhood or for the people of Hawaii and your career and everything like that. If we continue to create these spaces for
right.
each other, it's just going to have a ripple effect. And that's all we can do, because I don't know if we're ever going to be live when our government does show love and compassion. Like, if that would be like, I mean, that's even weird to even think about. And that's sad,
I think,
you
well,
know?
so even with that, it's like, for me, I look at our government and I go, okay, it has issues. It's like one huge dysfunctional family, you
Totally.
know. And we totally understand what a dysfunctional family looks like. I mean, I get it. I get it. But I I've never seen a dysfunctional family reconcile and be able to get along even though they have major differences. I've never been able to see that happen without first approaching them as individuals with love and compassion so that they can then experience that and move forward. You can't ever convince somebody who's coming from a dysfunctional space that they should stop doing that. You really shouldn't believe that. You really shouldn't do that. They don't, that whole thing, that doesn't work. That does not work.
Right.
Instead, to be able to say, look, I get it. You know what? I can't even imagine how difficult this must be. But I do know that you are a good person and that in your heart, you want the same thing that I want and that the people you oppose want. We all want the right to be happy, to be healthy, to be loving, and to be loved and accepted exactly as we are for who we are.
Right.
And it's not until we start as a cumulative whole expressing that compassion towards what they're going through and recognizing and acknowledging that they want the same things we want,
I agree.
right? Then you can't, until you do that, you can't expect them to change because they're coming at it from a different point, which is, this is my religion, this is my belief, this is the only thing that can happen. There's no room for compromise, on any side, left, right, center, up, down, around. It's all about this. But
Yeah.
just that statement alone tells you how afraid and scared and insecure they are. So,
Yes. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. I feel like people cause more hatred because they want to be loved so bad. And they
yeah,
have ego about what that looks like. And it really comes down to like, how you were brought up, or the circle of friends you are in, or, the circle of parties that you're in to get you to a place of where you want to be. And, sometimes people follow a corrupt way, some people follow the honest way. And it's really comes down to people wanting to be loved. I mean, love is the greatest gift of all time, and
yeah,
it heals everything. But at the same time, people are so afraid to love because they don't love themselves.
that's true. And then you just have, your every day average narcissist who it's all about them, and money's a big factor. And I can't remember who said it, but I always found that this one statement really interesting. um, People who have the least to give will always give the most,
Yeah, it's true.
and it's because they have hit the bottom part of the hardship ladder, and they realize that if they don't take a moment to gain compassion, I mean, they're already at the bottom, they're on their knees, right? The only way to stand back up is with strength, and the only way to express strength is through compassion.
Mm-hmm.
It really isn't about, oh, look at me, blah. It's more about, I'm strong enough in who I am, and I have enough love within me that I can accept who you are,
Right.
and I can say to you, I might not like what you're doing,
Right.
but I do have faith in you as a human with a heart, that you want the same things that I want. And so then we can work together. You can be who you are and do it however you need to. And I will accept you for the way you are,
Yeah.
and just do good. I mean, one little thing like going to the grocery store, and everybody there, especially now during the holidays, this is the worst time to go to any store. Doesn't matter, any store. Everybody's so
Uh,
amped up to take care of the holidays that they're not expressing anything that has to do with the holidays, gratitude, thankfulness, love, you giving, and so I psych myself out every single time I walk into a store by simply saying, today, I don't know what their life is like, but I do know mine is okay. Doesn't matter what I'm going through. I know it's okay because I can deal with it. And
yeah.
so I have room in me and what I'm going through to show grace.
Yeah.
Show grace. And so I smile, I wave, I say thank you. I say, excuse me. When somebody's really being a little shit in the store and pushing past you or trying to grab stuff, I let them do it. I just move aside and let them go, because I am not their goal.
Right.
I just happen to be one thing in the way of what they're trying to achieve. And if that's going to make their day better, let them. I got time. You know,
Yeah.
I don't need to sit there and go, look at that person, blah, blah, blah. I don't need to do that, because I'm nothing to them. They're nothing to me in that moment. They're just trying to achieve what they need to do. And it doesn't involve me. So I'm not taking it personal. I'm just moving
That's
aside and letting them
so
go.
true. And I feel like that is the hardest thing for people. And I want to go back to what you said of like just accepting people for who they are.
Right.
I was talking to my mom this morning. I have continued to reach out and just tell her I love her. Just tell her I'm here for her. And she just can't accept me for who I am. And if she's listening to this, I mean, it comes to a point where you have to let go of your past. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And it comes to a place where you have to think about the future. I mean, people can go at any time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
That's
why
right.
hate? Why hate? Yes, I did feel unloved from her growing up, but all I ever wanted was to have a relationship with her. All I've ever wanted was for her to see me,
Right.
who I am, and accept me for who I am. I accept her for who she is now. It took me a long time to get here in my story, even though it's on here as episode 1, that
Mhm.
story is still in the past. I
Right.
just decided to talk about it, to help other people. And, it's just so hard for her to not get past that. And
Well,
I understand, I feel like sometimes I'm like, well, maybe I shouldn't have said, you know, uh,
no,
those things. At
no,
the same time, it's like if I want to be real
yeah,
and I want to show compassion and I
right.
want to open my heart to show people that they can be vulnerable, right? That they can, you know, just be open to everybody that comes into your life, like how you talked about Christmas and people being insane, you know?
Yeah.
And I talked about this yesterday in my coaching group because I talked about, I was like, I want you guys to reach out to me and tell me the things that you're not looking forward to the holidays. Because most
Right.
people don't look forward to the holidays. One, it causes anxiety, it causes trauma, it triggers whatever it is. And that's why
Yeah.
people act crazy. And so that's why the gift of love is so important. The gift of gratitude, the gift of telling my mom I love her, and telling people I love them and saying hi. It's so interesting to me when you're at the store, when you're at the gym, when you say hello to
Right.
people.
Hi, how are you doing?
And
I know. They're like, wait, what?
their heart, it just
Yeah.
warms their heart so
Yeah.
much that everybody has the ability to say hello,
Right.
to
Well,
smile.
everybody is basically, you got two types of humans, especially at a gym. Those that are just trying to like get by, work out, go unnoticed so they can go about their day.
For
And
sure.
those that want to be noticed and want you to look at them. They're the peacocks of the place. I mean, look at me. I'm going to spread my feathers. Look at me. Um, but both of them, they're it's still the same thing. They're so wrapped up in what they're doing, what their life has. They don't expect anyone to really acknowledge that they are just humans. They are just happening.
Yeah, right.
Hey, I see you. That's what I see you. Hi, have a great day. Hope your day is awesome. You know, it's the acknowledgement of being seen that makes people stop in their tracks and go like, wait, what, me? You're talking to me? You
Yeah.
know? And and it's just because we don't expect to be seen, um,
Mhm.
unless we are actively seeking it, and
Right.
when we're seen, we don't expect people to have anything to say about it, like, oh, see, eye contact, look away.
Yeah. I'm always like,
Yeah,
hey,
but when you're
you know,
really seen,
yeah. And there's a difference of like being seen, right? In
right.
social media, like being seen of like, hey,
Oh,
you
no.
know what I mean?
Mm-mm.
Or being seen for who you are,
Yeah, human to human, here's a connection.
human to
But
human. That's the thing. It's like we're called humankind. I think
right,
Coldplay has a song literally about this. We're humankind,
yeah,
kind as the word for a reason.
right.
We have the ability to love. Like you have the choice to be angry, hurt, mean, or you have the choice to love, compassion, and hold space for people. Like that's on you. You know,
Yeah, but a
it is
lot of
your
people, Brett,
decision, but they
a
don't see
lot
it.
of people don't feel like they have that choice. That's the sad part.
Right, right, right,
I
right.
mean, it's like, okay, you are loving, giving, strong, open. You're all of these things despite what you felt happened in your youth, growing up, how you were raised, how you were treated, how you were loved or not loved. But interestingly enough, if it had been differently, right, you, I don't think, would be the person you are today,
Oh,
because it's those experiences that have made you recognize what the world really does need the most of right now is compassion, love, understanding, acceptance, and people just leaving room for grace. Just
right.
leave room for grace. Somebody shits on you today, somebody you didn't think would shit on you, and you just lose it, and you're like, screw this guy, he's a whatever, screw that lady, whatever. But the truth is, if you just leave room for grace and go, wow, they must they must be going through something,
Right.
and I have a choice. I can react to what they just said or did in a negative way, or I can look at that and go, you know what? I'm going to leave room for grace. That's it. And I'm going to go about my day, because it really isn't about you at that point.
Oh,
It's about what they're going through. And I'm going to tell you something I told Keith, because his father was very similar to what you experienced. Like, Keith was telling him, because after years of us being together and me explaining to him how I look at things when it comes to parents, and if we weren't raised and we didn't go through the things we went through, would we be as hardworking and strong and loving and able to be compassionate and giving, or would we be different? I mean, how would we have turned out if we hadn't experienced all those things?
right. Right.
And so maybe 8 years ago, he reconciled with his dad and said, Dad and Mom, thank you for raising me the way you did, because it made me who I am today. And I like who I am, and he listed his attributes that he felt was part of how he was raised. And his dad, excuse me, said, I didn't raise you, you raised yourself. And he got up from the table and walked away.
Wow.
And Keith was hurt by that. He was very devastated. However, that's when I explained to him, I said, look, this isn't for you, it's about you, but it isn't about you. It's
Mhm.
about the fact that if your dad acknowledges that the shit he did and the way he behaved is what made you so awesome today, he would have to take a really good look at himself and why he did those things or didn't do those things, and that, if you change one thing, everything changes. That one perspective changing for his dad, who was in his 70s at the time, would have literally forced him to look at all of the decisions he made in his lifetime, all of the things he did. And I'm not sure he could handle it at that point, you
Right.
know? So
Yeah.
it's better to stick with what you think at that point. It's like, put on the blinders, stay safe in your knowledge. It's easier to say Brittany is the one to blame here because I didn't do anything wrong. I was there, I was good, I did everything I could. And you know what? Truthfully, Britt, she
Uh,
probably did.
well,
It
I was
was
just gonna
all
say,
she could do.
absolutely.
Everything you got out of
Absolutely.
her was all she had to give. And that really, it's sad,
Yeah.
because that tells you that she herself had something happen in her childhood
Well,
that made her this way, and in her life. So that's where the room for grace and compassion comes from. Then it also brings about your own love and compassion for yourself, and the need to acknowledge that sometimes when you love someone who is not capable of returning that love and understanding and compassion, that it's better to love them from a distance. You
yeah.
send them love and good vibes every day, but
ab-
you do not feel the need to express it to them verbally or emotionally in front of them on the phone or whatever. You just in your head every day, your mantra is, I love you,
Mhm.
peace go with you, I'm good, and move on.
Yeah,
Because it's not healthy
right. Exactly.
to continue to, it's like chasing an ex-boyfriend who dumped you. You know, like you call him every day, but I just want you to know that I love you and I appreciate you and I'm grateful. They're
Uh,
like freaking out. They're going, whoa, yo. You
yeah.
know?
I mean,
Yeah,
that is so, I mean, you hit the nail on the head, right? Like, I know my mom did the best that she could. And this goes for all of humanity, right? Like
right.
always do the best that we can do. Like I didn't have like the shittiest childhood.
No,
Felt like I wasn't seen. I felt like I wasn't loved for who I was. They
right.
wanted to, put me in a box of something that like I didn't belong in.
Well,
And
you're the changeling in the family.
uh, yeah, you know what I mean? And I am, but also like, how you were brought up. That's because what you said about that, I was like just gonna say the same thing to you. Like, I wouldn't have it any other way. I wouldn't be this person today
Right.
if I didn't go through those experiences. And I am so grateful for that. I tell her,
Yeah,
that, but a lot of the time I do have to send, and this is for everybody. I teach this, if you cannot have a good relationship because it's just toxic and
yeah,
there's nothing that you can do, even
yep,
though you want it so bad,
yep,
energetically in prayer, whatever that means to you, you can
right.
send people love. I mean, you can send people love who, hate so much that you don't even know, just to
Yeah,
prove that they have a spark of kindness in their heart someday. The energy is so powerful because everything has energy in it,
right.
everything. And
Well,
so
yeah, we're all molecular.
absolutely. And so we can shift that energy with love out to people without it hurting us.
Yeah,
And that's what I feel is missing so much in humanity right now, is because they don't allow themselves to believe it. They don't allow themselves to see that. They don't
yeah,
want to be capable of that. But, at the same time, what Keith and his dad went through, like at least he got to that place to say it out loud,
right,
and that's what we're so afraid of. We're so afraid to be vulnerable, to say it out loud, how we're
yeah,
feeling.
right.
I mean, Daniel talks to me about this all the time. He's like, you're very vulnerable with how you feel, like very much. Tell me everything. But he's allowed me to be myself in this relationship, because in other relationships, if I said something, oh shit, like world's gonna come down on fire. But
Yeah,
at the same time, I'm learning a new vulnerability because I've
right,
been so independent and hurt, in the past. That's still a part of me somewhere. And so he talks about when there is this vulnerability that I open up to, of like, cuddling and showing a softer side, letting him take care of me, for example. You know what I
right,
mean? That is a shield I didn't even know I had. He brought that out of me, or brought it to my attention. And that's, the gift of when you give love, you can receive love. And I think
right,
the receiving of love is also very interesting in humanity, right? Like you see so
right,
many people give because they don't know how to receive it.
right.
You know?
Well, it's because they go, you can't possibly think I'm worth it.
Yeah. Right?
I
Right?
mean,
Or
like, it's,
it's like
it's like, no, no. See, if I just keep giving to you, we don't have to go there about whether, but
right. They don't have to look at themselves in the mirror. They can look at other people. And when the most important relationship is what? Yourself.
right,
It's who we are. And it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to, say you're sorry. It's okay to, say I love you as
yeah,
over and over and over again. I mean, it's like I even texted that to my mom this morning. I was like, Mom, you haven't even told me you love me in this whole year of me trying to, connect with you. And she doesn't hurt me anymore. You know what I
right,
mean? I'm just there. I'm like, when are
right,
you gonna tell me you love me back? And I don't let it hurt me, because I know that there is love in there somewhere. I know that people have love for each other somewhere in there. It's just,
Right.
again, how our society is, traumatized by events after events after events. But if you look at it as a lesson,
Right.
not wanting to forget about it and be like, oh, I'm just going to forgive that, but and shove it down. If you look at everything that happens to you in your life as a lesson, life is
Right.
very beautiful. It becomes an adventure. It becomes an adventure of your lifetime because
Right.
you have that love and compassion. But sometimes we have to go through the really hard things, like you going through like being homeless, but you were gifted these people in your life that taught you things and opened your
Yeah,
mind to things,
they taught me how to, take care of myself, so that they didn't give me a handout. They didn't give me money I didn't earn. I had to earn it. I got a paycheck. That's how that worked.
Right.
But circling back around to you and Daniel, you had mentioned earlier that about Keith and I and our relationship.
Oh, it's so
You
cute.
know, that that particular aspect of our relationship came about because early on, I would do things for him to express my love, like I cook. That's one of them. And he would be like, you don't have to cook for me. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do that. And it was because he, in his head and his experiences,
Right.
people did things for you and you're not capable of returning all those same favors, then they turn on you to tell you what a piece of shit you are for your lack of reciprocation,
Right.
so in past relationships and stuff. And I literally sat him down and said, look, we have to have a couple agreements if we're going to continue. One of them is I will love and accept you exactly as you are every day, even as you change. And I'll tell you how much I appreciate you. I'm hoping you'll remember to do those same things, you know, but also, more importantly, I want you to know that I would like us to have an agreement that I am allowed to love you and care for you the best way I know how without you judging me. And I will do the same for you. You will show me in the best way you know how that you love me and that you care for me, and I won't judge you. So it's not that we're equal in how we do it. It is that we accept that the way he expresses it and the way I express it are different, but it's the best that we can give each other every day of that. And so there's no argument of you don't and she doesn't or he
Right.
didn't,
Right.
yeah, it's like I don't even take out the trash. I live here. I have no problem taking out the trash. I mean, it's not even about that. It's about accepting, it in your head, because you give 5 million times, in my head, more than most people even think to do. And for me, it comes naturally.
Right.
Um, I don't have that. Now they owe me and they have to give at that same level. That's not even it's
Right.
not even a thought process. It's like turn the page. I gave something, turn the page. The
Right.
next thing on my list of things that I would like to achieve today.
Right.
It's not even, yeah, it's not reciprocal. It's not an expectation of it being, a give and take. It's an
Right.
expectation of I have given, have a great day, I'm out. Peace out. I'll see
Right.
you later.
And I think that goes for a lot of things when, I love what you said about where you are loving the way you can, he's
Right.
loving the way he can
Right.
without judgment. Now we
Right.
can take that into our inner circle, with our partners,
Right.
ourselves, our partners, to our inner circle, and to the rest of our surrounding people. If
Right.
people judged less, You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
like I said, or you said, opening your hearts to one another, the world would be so different. I mean, we're so quick to judge, and we're so quick to judge of the past, or,
right.
things that did happen. Well, shit, man, are you perfect? No.
Yeah,
Am I
right,
perfect? Hell no. Am I
right.
going to dwell on something I did 20 years ago? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Am I going to continue to feel guilty for the rest of my fucking life so I can't live an
no.
adventure? You know what I'm saying? And it's
Well,
like,
you have to forgive. You have to forgive yourself for things that you did that you're not proud of, you know.
yes,
But that's the thing. When it comes to parental relationship, forgiving is often the hardest thing to do.
right.
They for both, for kids and for parents, because kids have an expectation of what parenting is and what it should have been or what it could have been.
For sure.
Parents have an expectation of what they expected out of their kids and what they actually got, and a
Exactly.
lot of times it doesn't match up.
Right. And we're all somebody's children. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah,
If
oh
you
yeah,
go back to like when Jesus was alive, Jesus was friends with, you know, stripper. Well, not there's not wasn't strippers back then, but like the hose,
yeah.
and
Well, just so you know, they didn't have underwear.
you know what I mean? The men that did wrong, the women that did wrong because they needed him the most. They
Right,
they say it talks about that in the Bible, whether you believe
right,
it or not. It's still a story of compassion.
right.
And I feel like that is the lesson that we should always remember, is to have compassion for one another and to be seen for who we are, to be accepting of, who we are. And the world would just be a better place because, forgiveness, this is what it's an ongoing thing right now. I taught a forgiveness class part 2 last night. It was talked about in my relationship coaching group on Wednesday. It was talked about in a service at church the other week. Forgiveness, forgiveness, forgiveness. And there's so many stages to that, like forgiving yourself, forgiving your past self, forgiving the things that you feel guilty for, forgiving, the shame that you felt in this circumstance, because we can't move forward, we can't love ourselves more if we don't forgive who we are and the things that we did. But more importantly, forgive other people,
Yeah.
forgive your mom, forgive your dad, forgive your sister, forgive your grandma, forgive, that bad friend that you had a long time ago. Forgive them so you can move on.
Right.
People want to hold on so bad. Oh, well, this person did this to me and blah, blah, blah. Stop playing the fucking victim, man. Like, because that's not going to get you anywhere. And then it becomes a broken record. And then it becomes a cloud of negativity. And that's what you become.
Well, it's because we were raised in a punitive society.
Right.
You it we our democracy is punitive. You do something wrong, you have to pay the price. You made your bed, you got to sleep in it. Everything it's has a negative connotation when the reality is you did something wrong. Okay, what do you do next?
Right.
How can you change that? Can
Right.
you undo what you did? No. But could you make it better? I don't know. You stole something from someone. Could you give it back? You
Yeah.
know, I mean, and if you can't give it back because you were homeless and starving or whatever, can you pay it forward later? I mean, there's so many different ways in which to do that. But honestly, I have so much belief that if each of us as humans just take a few seconds out of every day to just say, I love and appreciate who I am, where I am, and everyone that I will encounter today, it will change your day. It will change the interactions on your day, and it will eventually change the world. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
But we're all self-consumed.
Yeah.
we're self-centered, we're self, you
Yeah.
know, everything is self. It's all about us. And then when somebody steps in our little bubble of us, we go, wait a minute, you did something wrong. Then it becomes punitive. You got to pay, or you can go whatever. And that's not how it should work, but it's how it currently works. And so I take the method because there's a lot of bad people out there as well.
Mm.
Some intentionally do harm, some accidentally do harm, but it's, it's the old saying, right? Practice compassion, but don't take any shit.
Yeah.
So I'm not being naive when I say I give love freely. Okay, because I still, you get the spidey sense, like, oh, maybe don't give love to that guy. Like that guy's a freak, and
You
don't.
look crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but you don't go, oh man, that guy's crazy, and whatever. And you go, you know what, that guy's crazy. I hope he has a good day,
Yes.
and you move on. It's just, I don't know, Britt. The hardest part, I think, in everything is that people have an expectation of how something should be,
Ooh,
and
that's
it doesn't line up with the expectation of somebody else and how it should be. And instead of going, we're going to have a hard conversation for 10 minutes, and then after that, we're both going to remember that we all want the same thing.
right.
You know,
Right.
they can't have those conversations because they don't believe that what they want is the same thing as what that other person wants. And
Right.
it's like, you weren't original in that thought. I mean, I'm just saying, if you ask anybody, don't we all in the end want the same thing? We're not talking about government, we're not talking about religion, we're just talking about as an individual. For you, and if you have children, or if you have a boyfriend or family or whatever, for you and your family, what do you want?
Right.
Want safety, security, love, food, good community, you know, okay.
Who doesn't want that?
Yeah, I don't think it's any different than the guy down the street who's
Right.
raving, crazy about whatever political thing.
Oh, that
So
guy. Yeah.
so I always tell people, I
Still
go,
give love to him, which is just like,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
beautiful.
I know. It's like, go ahead, you be you, but
Mhm.
I'm still going to show you that I accept you for who you are. Here's some cookies. Have a great day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And
kill 'em with
that's
kindness. But
sometimes we want to even, do that even more when people are so like anti about who we are. But, like I don't want to change just because like, oh my gosh. And that's how I used to be, right? When someone didn't like me, or because I wasn't confident, I would seek them out more to get love
right,
from them. But I
yeah,
feel like that's what I was trying to do with my own mom. And I had that pattern continue for a long time until I was like, wait a minute, you know what I mean? I did the best I could. She did the best you could. I just have to do the best I can and love me for me and then love everybody else for who they are, and your
right,
whole world just opens up because yes, everyone wants financial freedom and peace. Everyone wants to be loved. Everybody wants to have, something that, they're passionate about, something that they can take care of, something that they can, create, whatever that
yes,
means to you, you know,
right.
like you are the only one in this entire world like you. And
Right.
that is a gift in itself.
Well, that's true. And it's not, uh, it's I don't know. I think we just worked ourselves into a little bit of a pretzel simply because I don't want people getting the wrong idea. When we talk about loving yourself and making sure that your house is in order and
Right.
that you're taking care and honoring who you are, your boundaries, you're respecting yourself, you're being compassionate to yourself. I don't want people to walk away from this going, well, these bitches are all about them. I want them to walk away knowing that the more you give yourself compassion, forgiveness, understanding, you know, camaraderie. When you're feeling sad, you go, I'm feeling sad. It's okay for me to feel sad right now. It's
Right.
okay for me to feel whatever I'm feeling. Okay. By doing that, you're not being selfish. You're actually taking the time to, as you would say, fill your bucket so that you can then go forth in your day and share of that
Right. Exactly.
from that same bucket. Okay. Because a lot of people, especially on social media, ooh, look at me, look at me. It's all about me, 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 me. And when you look at it, some people go, oh my God, they're so, look at all these cool things they're doing. Look at all this, swag they got. Look at, how they're balling or whatever. And I look at that and I go, wow, that's really, that's kind of sad. I mean, like, I hope they're okay,
Mhm.
because it, they're really, what they're showing is that they're pretty insecure,
Mhm.
and they have to, like, they got to front it in order for people to think that they're better than what they feel they are themselves, if that makes sense,
Makes
you
total
know.
It makes total
So
And yeah, I mean, I definitely think maybe that's the butter to our pretzel, right? Is how can we give love?
right,
It's really coming back to, like, how can we give love if we don't love ourselves? How
right,
can we understand other people if we don't love ourselves, And that's why it's so important. That's why I try to help people learn to love who they are, because I used to be there. I used to hate who I was. Like, there was times where I didn't even want to live anymore because I didn't think my life mattered. And
yeah,
that's what's happening with mental health globally, where
right,
if we as individuals fill our cup, fill ourselves with love, because love is easier than to hate. Now, a lot of people will be like, wait, like, because when you hate and when you're sad, guess what? You feel it more. Like, this,
yeah,
musicians write great music when they're sad, when they're
yeah,
high, when they're depressed or whatever, because you feel it more. When we
right,
love, sometimes we don't even realize that it's just so good, because when it's good, it's just good. You know what I
right,
mean? Pain is
right. No, I mean, I tell everybody every day, I am the luckiest woman alive.
yes.
And they're like, what what are you talking about?
I'm
Like,
alive,
you just look
man.
pretty
I'm
average to
alive,
me.
baby. I'm
Yeah.
breathing.
And I tell them, I woke up, I was able to get up, stand up, say my daily affirmations, work out, have a cup of coffee, say hi to you. I'm the luckiest woman alive.
Right,
Just like you are the luckiest person alive because you took the time to appreciate who you are and what you have right here and right now. Instead of dwelling on what you don't have, you chose to say, in this moment every day, I am so damn lucky. I am grateful. I got this going on. I got this going on. I got this going on. And guess what? All these challenges that are also out there in front of me are going to be easier to me because I know I have love and appreciation for myself.
right,
I know no one means me any harm.
right,
It's just, when you say it, it doesn't matter that there's somebody out there that means you harm, but to have that positive affirmation read through you, it makes dealing with these people out here and the issues they bring to the table so much easier,
right,
because you yourself are centered, it, you're grateful, you're good, you feel it inside you, you go, you know what, I'm hurting, but I'm lucky, I'm breathing, I'm healthy, and you hit the positive notes, because all the shit, that shit's still there every day. Everybody's going through it. But
right,
if you only dwell on that, then all you're doing is you're perpetuating this circle of negativity. And that's why, even taking it back to our government, even though I personally can't do anything to change it
right,
physically by going up there, or I can change it by not looking at it every time negative, with negativity. I can look at it and go, I know that person has a good heart. Somewhere in there, it's a good heart. I'm going to stay focused on the goodness that they have in them. And I'm going to send some positive energy towards that whole area
Yeah.
every day. And I'm going to let it be, because if we all send positive energy instead of negative energy, eventually it's going to reverberate, and it will arrive where it needs to be, and they will
Absolutely.
start coming to some more, compassionate decision making processes.
Yeah, it just becomes a part of you. It's like the power of prayer, the power of energy works the
Right.
same, and like going back to a morning routine, like, if we're hurting for things that we want and hurting for things that, we do need, if you start out your day by, I'm so thankful I have a phone. I'm thankful for my toothbrush. I said that the other day. I'm like, I'm grateful that I have a toothbrush. Like,
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
actually thinks about being grateful for a goddamn toothbrush?
Well, there's a lot of people, that don't have one,
Right. That's what I'm saying.
because
So
they can't afford
that's
it, of all the
exactly what that
things.
toilet paper,
Yeah.
tissues, a bowl to put your food in,
Yeah.
a blanket to sit under on the couch. Like, these are the things that a lot of us just glance over. But when
Right.
we look at those little things, we're like, dang, we have a lot. We have a
Yeah.
lot,
We have so much. I
It's
mean,
much.
it, if you were to measure your wealth by those things that are surrounding you right now that are important, you would feel like you are surrounded by too much crap, honestly. you know, because when you look around, you go, I got all this crap, but now I got to clean it, I got to maintain it,
Really.
whatever. Well, I find honestly that it's better to just say, how am I feeling today? How did my day go? Good,
Right.
bad, what? Okay.
Right.
Bad, awesome. This is how I can make it a little better for myself right now. Um, and then tomorrow I'm going to try again. I'm going
Right.
to just keep trying. You just keep trying. It's a daily practice, a
Yeah.
daily practice. And I wish people would remember or understand that every thought that runs through your head doesn't have to be kept. you know it's like it's like all that mail you get, all that junk mail you get in the mailbox. You go through it, and you're like, throw it away, keep this, throw that away, thoughts are the same way. you
Absolutely.
know your head is your mailbox.
It
All
is.
that shit's being delivered, and you can actually say, you know what, that thought's not doing me any good, that's for the trash.
Right.
Let's move on.
That's also a part of daily routine of loving who you are, is just like looking in the mirror and saying, I love you. And if a bad thought comes into your head or a bad memory, change it. That's the
Yeah.
hardest thing. You can change it. Or, for example, if you get triggered when you walk in a park, for example, you know what
Mhm.
I mean? Go walk in a park and make a new memory to comfort that trigger so you don't get triggered by things. Like, you can create new memories of the bad ones. You can create a new life for yourself just by being kind to yourself and being kind to others, because it's in our programming of how we were brought up and what we're told, and Disney movies that we watched. Like, I mean, I can go down the rabbit hole, but we have the ability to unprogram ourselves,
Right.
make a new reality for ourselves. We can be whoever we want to be. We can love whoever we want to love. And that
Yeah.
is the beautiful thing about being in this beautiful world and being a human. And it's just, there's so much love to give around. And
Well,
if we all do it, it will make a ripple effect somewhere. We just have to be consistent. It's a daily routine. A habit doesn't even happen if you don't do it for 30 days. 30
no.
days, come on. Anybody can do something for 30 days. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Make it a challenge with yourself. Make it a
Yep.
challenge that you say, I love you every morning in the mirror to yourself. You know what I mean? Whatever that means. making a challenge to say hello to a stranger every single day for 30 days, like whatever that may be. And then do something else the next 30 days and the next 30 days. And then you can look back in that year and be like, damn, bitch, look at all
You
that,
did it.
stuff that I was able to do that I thought I couldn't.
Yep, exactly. Well, I told a friend of ours who was having marital problems, and they kept asking me, well, how is it you and Keith, and I said, you know what? I'll just ask you one question, and then you tell me, what you think. And they're like, okay. I said, what do you do every day to show your other half that you appreciate them?
Mhm.
I mean, just, and they're like, I don't know. He's lucky I cooked for him or whatever, right? And I'm like, so the funny thing is when you start dating somebody, all those endorphins are rolling around and you're all like, oh, he's so awesome or she's so awesome. They do this, and then after you've been together for a while, all that starts to roll off into the day-to-day existence, the kids, the mortgage, and we stop telling that person the good things that they bring to the table. Instead, we start focusing on the things they're not doing to help all the other shit that needs to get done, right? So I told her, I said, well, maybe what you could do is you could just on a post-it note, right? Write down whatever you're thinking about that person, like one good thing a day, like I think you're hot or whatever, and take that post-it note and stick it on the mirror so that the next time he goes into the bathroom he'll see that.
Mhm.
I mean, it's because you have to train yourself to
Right.
start recognizing the goodness in other people, and then to start acknowledging it, and then to appreciate it. If
Right.
you don't see it because you've become so used to the negative, you didn't, you should.
Your past. It's
Yeah,
your past coming into the
right,
relationship.
exactly. And so she started doing that, and it's so funny because he started writing her little notes back and sticking it on there, like I like your butt, or I mean it's, and
Yeah.
then it just started a communication between them that was existing on this mirror. And at the end of, like, she took a picture of it, because they weren't taking them down, they were just kind of sticking them up there, and it was hilarious. I'm like, now you need to take all those down and put it like on a poster board or something, because you guys just literally went the gauntlet. I like your eyes. I like it when you're not wearing this. I like it when you're.
Right.
And it became, I mean, it's like a little game. Keith used to write on the toilet paper roll. Like, it's so funny. He'd sit there and he'd write, whatever he was thinking about me that day. And then when it was my turn to go to the bathroom, I'd be like, are you kidding
I
me?
gotta wipe my ass with this.
Here's this line, the storyboard here of things that he's thinking about me.
Oh,
But it was, I mean, it's
I
just
can
one of those
imagine.
things. It's the unexpected recognition that this person who you've clearly gotten so comfortable with that you're taking for granted
Well, right.
is acknowledging who you are and why they love you randomly, you know
Well,
it,
it's the art. I would say it's an art of continuing to learn about each other, right? Jay Shetty, I don't know if you know who he is. Jay Shetty uh is one of like a masters of, talking about, never stop learning about your partner, never stop
yeah,
loving your partner, never stop talking about your, things with your partner, because once you lose that, you guys
yeah,
lose each other, and then you're like, well, you didn't do this, when actually it's both of you. You know what I
right,
mean? it's
yeah,
it's it is hard. Marriage is hard work for a reason. Is it hard work that's not a good thing or a bad thing? You know what I mean? It's a good thing because you're wanting to get to know that person for the rest of your life. I mean, you will
yeah,
never fully know anybody, you know,
No, you
even know
don't know.
everything about you sometimes, and
Oh,
it's a beautiful thing to constantly, it's important to be like, no, really, how is your day? And have the art of listening and not interrupting, and yeah, telling one thing about each other or your friend, how much you appreciate them, or when you think of that person, just send them a text right away. I do that all the time. I mean, people probably think I'm crazy sometimes, like, well, I haven't heard from you in a while, but it's like, you know what? That's okay. When I think of you, I'm going to tell you something.
yeah,
And
no, that's the way it should be.
that's
You
what
know?
it should be. And I actually have this book right here from Jay Shetty. It's called Eight Rules of Love and How to Find It, Keep It, and Let It Go. Um,
Yeah.
I just love him. And it's just like, and I love you because you're like
Oh,
that too. And it's just like the more you open yourself up to these things, the more you're gonna see it, the more
right.
you're gonna, be thankful and all these things. And so I just think that it's so important to, listen to what, you're saying.
Britt, I think you're really on, I I think you're really on the right path. You have
Right. We
your
do the best
you
that
have reached out to help so many people on so many different levels
we
through so many different things. And it is in spite of the fact that you suffered. But because you suffered, you have more compassion in which to approach all of these things and offer up
right.
support, you know.
Right.
So for me, I feel grateful. I mean, I've always, that though. That's why I was like, no, don't leave me.
I know. I was like, oh my God. I like just started to have this wonderful relationship. And you guys, Aleta is in my family's life. Like, and I think that's what's so wonderful about my uncle. I think that's why we get
Oh
along so
yeah,
well. My uncle is like one of my best friends, just like how my grandma was. They are
yeah,
the two people in my family that saw me for me, but I also see them for them, and we also suffered a lot of things. And that's, my uncle is very, very, very compassionate about a lot of
oh
things.
yeah.
Cindy compliments him
I
in so
know.
many ways because she has, suffered some things too. And she, loves and has compassion. And it's just,
Yeah.
to have, that uniqueness in family. And yeah, it is unique because not
Right.
all families are like, and
Yeah,
my
a lot of them are not.
is not like that, but I
Right.
love everyone in my family. I don't care what you've done or what they've done or whatever, but it's really a beautiful thing to have a family member see you for you. I
Yeah.
make sure to tell my uncle that all the time, thank you for
Right.
seeing me for me. I tell my aunt that, thank you for seeing me for me, because when you
Right.
finally experience that, then you can really open yourself up to seeing other people for who they are when you experience that. And
Right.
it's just a love fest, that I live in. And I appreciate you saying that. Like I want to burn everything to the ground sometimes because I'm
Yeah.
like, am I really helping people? Am I really helping people? And because that's, what I really am compassionate about. But I have to remember, like, I have to take care of me too. And that's how the world goes around. It's just like, just help other people, you guys, have compassion. And so Aleta, as we get down to the end of this call, tell us, I always end the call like this, like, what are the 5 things that you can do for yourself every single day to love who you are? And then in return, um, giving that love back.
So you want me to tell you 5 things that I do for myself?
If someone doesn't have, if someone doesn't know what to do, for example, say like
Oh,
this is all
okay.
new for them, of learning how to give love to yourself so you can love another the way you want to be loved, right? If
Right.
someone has no idea how to do that, what are the top 5 things that just comes to mind that can help someone learn how to do that?
Well, the first thing would be as soon as you open your eyes in the morning, take a deep breath and say thank you, you know, um, because that sets your brain in the right direction.
Yeah.
The second thing is acceptance. The person who is I'm seeking love from is loving me the best way they know how. And sometimes that's going to fall short, but they're trying. That's all they can give me. That's all they got. You have a choice at that point. And that's the third thing. You do have a choice. You have a choice to pursue it. You have a choice to accept it, or you have a choice to walk away. Okay. The fourth thing would be to just give yourself compassion. You know, check in, like you're brushing your teeth. Man, I feel like shit. I got a big day ahead of me. Don't be a wuss. Acknowledge it. Yeah, I'm feeling whatever. That's okay. Take a deep breath. We can get through this. And that's the fifth thing. Take a deep breath. We can get through this. You, yourself, and the other person in you, that baby, that little kid who's been treated terribly or who's scared, you, yourself, and that person, you can get through it, you know, but you got to start your day saying thank you because you got up, you woke up, you know, set your head straight. So yeah, those are the things. And then guess what? I always say, when life is throwing you shit and you're really afraid and you feel like there's things that are, you just can't get beyond, too much debt, too many people hating on you, not enough love in your life, too many arguments, open your arms wide. Spread them as wide as you can. Spread your fingers, everything. Open them wide and walk through your day, because guess what? The wider your arms are spread, the bigger your heart feels. The more goodness is allowed to flow through you and at you. If you close yourself up, you bypass that opportunity to receive and give love freely.
It's so true. I love
Metamorphically, open your arms wide. Otherwise, it could get awkward going through a crowd.
You're like, hey, everybody.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like
in your head, you see it. But I love you. You, I love, and we miss you. And actually, Keith just walked in, but he would say the same thing.
Oh, I love
We
you.
miss you.
Oh, I miss you guys too. And I hope you guys all wrote that down. And I hope you guys got some nuggets from this. You know, I mean, every time I'm around this woman, like I learned something new about life and love.
But I feel the same way. See, that's how that works.
Yeah, it's so cool. So,
is here.
Yeah. Hello, Keith. Hey, we love each other. You know, it's
I know. It's all about the love.
Aleta, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate you. And you guys are in Colorado Springs, you know, walk in our neighborhood and be like, hey, can I have some banana bread? Because you make some good stuff.
Oh my God, you have no idea. We're
the best, the best. So everyone, tell yourself that you love yourself, give love, spread love, open your heart, open your hands, and receive.
That's right. Receive love, because it's there.
It is there.
Okay, well, I love you. You have a beautiful day.
Love you too.
Happy early birthday.
Oh, thank you. Another year around the sun tomorrow.
Hey, so are you just flying in and then flying out?
Wait, hold on.
Driving in.
You guys, I'm gonna finish this conversation with her. You're gonna get bored with like other live things, but thank you for coming on, Aleta. I hope you guys have an amazing Monday. Set your week up for success and start with your daily routine. Have a good one.